Well, welcome back to the channel, everybody. Welcome back to a new video, and guess where I'm at today? I am in La Jolla, California, Southern California. Just a few miles down the road is Mexico. This is some of the most beautiful beaches in all of California, and I love coming down here. I come down here for work. So those of you who tell me that I should move out of, what do you call it, California and all that fun stuff, I mean, look at this. It is incredibly beautiful. It's probably about 80 degrees, dry, comfortable heat, a nice breeze off the ocean, and if you look close, you can even see marine life down there. I've been out there in kayaks before, and it is just nuts. You can look straight through the water down into the life below. And the life below includes very large things that could eat you, but nonetheless, it's still incredibly gorgeous. And I am here for work for the next few days. And yesterday, I was in Huntington Beach by my house. I'll put a short clip while I'm talking here of that beach while we hung out as a family and roasted some marshmallows at the fire and enjoyed the evening while the sun went down. And I gotta tell you, politically, I would agree with you all. It's probably not the greatest place in the world to live, but damn, ain't it beautiful? Oh, look at those people out there swimming way out there. Can you see them? Way out there. Anyways, let's go ahead and jump in the car and talk about these Demon 170 values and try to peel some people off the ceiling a little bit and also try to save some people some money. Well, let's jump in the Swinger. I'm driving the Swinger today. This is my 2023 last call Dodge Challenger Swinger Edition shaker with the hood pins that I had put in. Got it for MSRP and have lost my ever-loving ass on it, which is totally cool because I do love the car. But let's go ahead and jump inside and start this video. Oh, check this out. The paneling's coming off. Good job, Dodge, on this last call. This side's fine. You can see that. It doesn't do it. So those of you who are asking what the hell I was talking about in my last video, it's coming off. It doesn't look horrible, but they said it's on back order, and that was probably 6 months ago. So I'm thinking back order means like they're never gonna be able to replace that. I don't know, but an interior company can fix that real quick. Take this door off and glue this sucker back in place. Anyways, let's start this video. All right, so let's talk about this Demon 170, and before I jump into these values and why I'm telling you, you know, for the 9 millionth time, I'm telling you that the values just won't hold. I do understand why people are so mad, and they're so mad at me, they're so mad at TK and Butter and all of us, whenever we even talk about the Demon 170 at this point, because with the issues that are taking place and the engines blowing and cars being built missing parts and all the challenges that are taking place, they shred us on the forums, they shred us in the groups on Facebook, and I get why, but because they spent $200,000, some of them more, on these cars, and there's so many of these rich guys, and look, some people think I'm one of them. I'm not. I'm a plumber's son. I am, you know, I may have done well, but I don't have enough money to go buy 2 or 3 or 4 Demon 170s at $100,000 over MSRP and put them in my Bend pack lifts in my garage and wait 20 years for these things to come back in value. Or in some cases, these guys believe it's going to be like 5 or 10 years they're going to double in value. So these are by definition rich. And I have no problem with rich people. I applaud whatever people have done, as long as ethically, with integrity, to build a business, to build some wealth, to make smart decisions, to establish some wealth in this great country. Good for them. But rich doesn't equate smart, and you would think that it would, because you need to have some level of brain power to be able to achieve a level of success in this country to where you have that kind of wealth. But I've learned over time that there is a component of luck, there is a component of simple just hard work and grind and determination that will far surpass any super smart and intellectual people. I will reference and put in my description below a video from Art Williams, and this guy became, I think he was probably close to a billionaire, but he he built a company called, I think it's Primerica, but originally A.L. Williams, and it was an investment firm. And he says in one of his videos, he says, look, you know, in this country, you don't want to be, you know, being smart is a problem. Like, smart people don't succeed because smart people, they think too much. They're spend too much time figuring.
And I found two things out about smart people. I think it's almost impossible for a smart person to win in business in America today. Because I find smart people spend their whole lifetime figuring things out. They're always trying to figure out an easier way and a quicker way. And another thing I found out about smart people is they just don't get around to doing nothing. And see, somebody like Art Williams, everybody said, well, he can't do it. And somebody like that can't do it. But he does it.
Rather than working. So I think that some of these rich people, they just went and did things. So good for them. And that doesn't mean, though, that they shouldn't stop and go, okay, you know, I struck lightning, I hustled my way into success, I worked really, really hard, I didn't listen to the warnings, I just did this and it worked out for me, and maybe use some critical thinking skills. And in this situation with the Demon 170, it's kind of important that they do, but I do just want to say to you all of you Demon 170 owners that are just so nasty in the forums and in the groups, that I'm not trying to kill the value of your cars. I promise you, there's nothing I would rather more than these things to go to the moon for you. You bought them, dealers ripped you off, they charged you $100,000 over, $200,000 over, God knows what some of you paid for them, and they told you they were going to go up in value. And I would love for you to not get creamed on these cars, because that just supports the whole dealer shenanigans even more. They get to win and we as customers have to lose. But unfortunately, in a situation, they took advantage of you when they told you it was going to go up in value, and they used history to convince you. They told you that, you know, the old Roadrunners and the Cudas and the old Challengers and these old cars in the 60s, that these those reasons, those 60s cars have gone up so much in value. And some, you know, when they were, you know, under $10,000 brand new or whatever they were, $4,000, $5,000 brand new, that now that they're selling for $100,000, they went up, you know, 100 times in their value, or 50 times in their value, whatever the actual number is. But whatever it was, they exceeded their value by 10, 15, 20 fold. And that, based on that logic from those 60s era cars, that your Demon 170 is going to experience the same level of appreciation. So buying it for $200,000 absolutely guarantees that you're going to make $400,000. And logically, there's no possible way that could happen. And I'm going to share with you the reasons why. And they're not my reasons, so you can not just be mad at me. They're just common sense reasoning behind this, which starts off with the fact that those cars that people bought back, let's say in the late 60s, those cars have had now 50, 60 years to appreciate to the value that they're at right now. And yes, low mileage, unmolested, perfect cars absolutely will pull some ridiculously crazy prices, all numbers matching, everything else, they will. But keep in mind, the correlation I want to share with you all is, if they would have bought, let's say, that Roadrunner for, let's say, double, triple, quadruple, quintuple the price from the dealer because the dealer marked it up, that's pretty much what you're doing right now. So if, let's just say, one of these cars is an old Challenger is $100,000 today for a perfect one, and the car was $4,000 or $5,000 when it was new, what's happening today when you pay $200,000 for your Demon 170 or $300,000 for Demon 170 is tantamount to the guy that bought that 69 Challenger of paying $100,000 then instead of the $4,000 or $5,000. Because remember, there's like 50 years, over 50 years of inflation, appreciation, changes in the cars, and nostalgia built, and of course boomers with lots and lots of money that are able to, disposable money, they're able to buy these things as well, that have memories built around them and legacies built around them. And these cars had legacies because they were actually used. And unfortunately, so few Demon 170s will actually be used, and the ones that are getting used are having issues. Not all of them, but some of them are having serious issues, which are not getting properly explained by Stellantis as to why. Go watch Racer X's video when he explained what he got back from Stellantis on what happened with the car, and it basically was they didn't tell him anything. We all watched that video, and thank you, Racer X, good friend, love the guy, but they didn't tell him anything, and he felt the same way when he, at the end, when you watch the video. So where's the legacy in these cars, other than, if the legacy is, and the problem with social media nowadays, and guys like me, is we're spreading stuff out there, I'm willing to admit it, but also all the news outlets are picking this stuff up, and it just takes time, usually around 60 to 90 days, for the stories to build critical mass and make it everywhere on the internet. So as these engines continue to blow and more news articles start to come out, a legacy is created around the Demon 170. And if unfortunately the legacy, which was supposed to be that it could come out and beat the Plaid, which I don't believe it has yet, it can come out and beat other cars, it can come out and do sub 9-second quarter miles and pop wheelies and do all this fun stuff. Well, that was supposed to be the legacy. It was going to be a track monster, which I would agree that it is. The problem is that legacy is being overshadowed by blown engines and, frankly, issues people are having with these cars. Glitches and repair issues, and having to pull the warranties in and have them repair these cars and put them in shops for a long time to get them fixed. And this is a legacy that you don't want on the collector car that you bought. You need this legacy to be about this car crushing it on the track, this car going out and just breaking records for a production car with a warranty. That's what you need to have happen. The problem is it's just not prolific enough to overshadow the problems, the blown engines. And every few weeks we keep hearing about more. And I gotta tell you, I am disappointed. I am upset. I'm bothered when I hear that they're blowing. I'm not saying, oh yay, more content. I wanted this car to go down in history as one of the most miraculous cars ever built, and have a legacy of that car being used by great people like Racer X and Kevin Van Voris, and they took them out and they did great things with these cars and made us all super proud to have been Dodge fans through the incredible legacy years of these Hemi engines. But instead, the legacy is being changed. So if you look back, what was the legacy of the, I think it was the Superbird? Well, nobody wanted a Superbird. They thought it was ugly. That's one thing I read. So that legacy was what it was, but it ended up becoming worth a ton of money. But it wasn't because the engine sucked or because the car became a meme online of people standing next to blown engines on their $250,000 marked up Dodge Demon 170. But the real reason, and this is where I got to refer you all to go watch a video on Uncle Tony's Garage. This is a great channel that I found a few months ago, and he had given me a shout out on this video, which I appreciated, and had been watching all of our videos about the Demon 170s, and decided to do what I believe. While it's a longer video, I suggest you watch the whole thing if you own a Demon 170, and if you don't, watch it. If you're still aspiring to get one, watch it. If you just like to learn really deep thought type logic and analysis from a total car guy, go watch Uncle Tony's Garage and watch this video. I'll put a link in the description below. He explains in the most logical way that the difference between these cars today they are technological monsters, meaning that they must be serviced, they must be supported by engineers from Dodge. They can't just be hood popped up and a bunch of us on a weekend tear that thing down and build it back up. The car is way too sophisticated, way too complicated for most people to dig into it. But if you look at a 69 Challenger, for example, pretty much all of us, I can tell you right now, I could work on that car. I could easily work on that car. I could do maintenance on that car. And I have the most rudimentary background in working on cars from when I was a kid, with the garage popped open and my buddies coming over, and we're tearing down my friend's Plymouth Duster, and we're tearing down my 1980 Toyota pickup truck, and we're tearing down my 1970 Datsun 510, and we're putting new carburetors on it and putting new brakes on it and changing the oil in my truck. I never paid anybody to do that. These were all easy things to do. But today, with a Demon 170, you wouldn't want to do any of that stuff. Think about this. Right now, those of you that are at least old enough to remember the days when we would pop the hood, and if I needed to change an alternator, I did it on the weekend. I did it myself. It was no big deal. As a matter of fact, I'd go to AutoZone or Pep Boys, and I'd buy the alternator, and I'd go to my house, and a couple hours later, and some bruised up, bloody knuckles, I would have a new alternator in the car. Today, just getting to the car battery in some of these cars is a nightmare. Disconnecting the car battery creates a whole new level of nightmare. Just doing the brakes on my daughter's Supra requires a special program, a special machine to be able to release the e-brake, to be able to take off the back brakes to put the new ones on. So there was no way I could do it, and there's no way that any of the small shops around my house, where you want to work with these guys that have been wrenching on cars their whole lives, you want to give them the business because you know they put their heart and soul and they do good work. I got told we can't even touch that thing. It's too technologically advanced, which goes back to the Demon 170. Think about the time when you pop a hood on a new car, and I would say it's probably going back easily 20 years, that we pop the hood and we go, holy crap, I'm not messing with that thing. How many times have you said that just in the last 20 years? Now look at the last 10 years. Now look at the last 5 years, and look at the last 3 years and 2 years, and you are looking at some of the most insanely complicated machinery that is 100% needs to go to the dealership to get worked on. And here we are with the Demon 170 that is a limited edition 3300 built car, and Dodge is going to have to support this thing through its warranty periods, which would be 3 years, 36,000 miles, bumper to bumper, and 5 years on the drivetrain. So one thing Uncle Tony's Garage shares, and I just was trying to figure out how to articulate this when I was storylining this video, and then I went back and rewatched this video because I was going to get into the belief, and I found conflicting information online about this, that all manufacturers have to support cars for at least 10 years with parts and service. But I found in some websites saying it's a federal law, they have to do it. Then I found on NHTSA, National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, where they said, no, we have nothing to do with this. We have made no statement on this, and no law behind this or policy behind this. And then I dug deeper, and I keep finding, well, maybe it's 10 years, and then one website says, actually, dealers have pretty much all, as a group, kind of agreed that 10 years is fair. But then you go back to some of the older cars back in the day that there were so many aftermarket parts that were so easily made that it lasted well beyond that, because the dealers, they were still able to make those parts and sell those parts, and there were enough of those cars out there and people could work on them that it was a good business to keep making those parts. But kind of like my low production number 2005 Lamborghini Gallardo, a very special car, when it came time to find the e-gear actuator for that car, the Lamborghini dealership said, well, it would have to be on back order. We don't readily keep those things. We would have to go back and make one for you to be able to put in your car, and that's going to cost you close to $10,000 to do. Thank goodness there was a guy in like Sweden who rebuilt these things and resold them and charged a core, and it all worked out, and I got the car back on the road. But what we're talking about is something that's pretty easily rebuilt by a mechanic. We're not talking about a computer that's heavily supported by software, programming, engineers, and additional computer systems that plug into that computer to be able to tell you what's wrong with it and be able to help diagnose issues. That, yes, an OBD2 port, you can buy something on Amazon, plug it in. I got it for all my cars. Actually, I got two of them, for one for the Lamborghini and one that I use on the other cars when check engine lights come on, and I can see what's wrong with them. But to get the new cars fixed, I have to take these things to the dealerships because some of these things are far beyond any local mechanic being able to fix. And if you think these cars are bad, wait till we have EVs. That's going to be even worse. But as Uncle Tony's Garage explains, is they're only going to probably keep all the parts and engineers around through the warranty periods. Because the one thing I did find is there is law behind supporting and requiring that the manufacturers be able to deliver on their warranties. So of course that makes sense, right? If you've got a 5-year powertrain warranty, you better have enough engines, you better not have enough parts for that drivetrain to support those warranties through the warranty period. That just makes sense. But that's the only thing I could find, meaning that this sounds like, at best case scenario, Dodge, Stellantis would provide parts for somewhere around up to 10 years, maybe. But for sure, 5 years. So I would think somewhere between 5 to, let's say, 6 years, maybe 6.5 years, because so many of these are sitting on lots for so long and the warranties won't start right away, that these cars will be running out of warranty. And we already are watching Stellantis fire engineers, wholesale fire engineers all over the country right now and try to outsource stuff. And by the time these engineers are all gone, moved on with their lives, Dodge, Stellantis won't have any more engineers in the next 5, 6, 7 years to be able to even work on the Demon 170. Now, will you be able to go in and pick up some parts for a Demon 170? I'd say there are parts you can, you bet you, but there are things with this car that you're not going to be able to. And if you blow that engine, because you kept it in your garage, hermetically sealed forever, and then you finally go, you know what, it didn't go up in value, I'm going to go out and have fun in this car finally, and then you smoke that motor, and you don't have a warranty, and you go back to Dodge, and they're not selling these engines anymore, they only had to support them through warranty periods, what are you going to do? You're going to engine swap it. And let me just tell you, you're not going to be able to get the money you think you can get for that car if you have to engine swap the car. And do you want to be the person who's going to buy the thing for $400,000, as some guys believe, $500,000? Some guys believe in these groups and forums that these cars are going to be worth in 5 years, 6 years, some say 10 years, but a lot of them are like in 5 years they're going to double in value. These are going to be $500,000 cars. Well, there's nothing out there that's gone to $500,000 that was $100,000 in MSRP. You're not going to find that. And if you do, you're pulling out a freaking needle in a haystack, something that is not going to compare. Because let's just go back to 10 years from now, 15 years from now, if that engine's no good, or you find out then that engine's no good, you're likely not going to be able to just pop another one in there. And that's going to be a huge problem. You're going to have to find something else. Now, what you could find is maybe a Hellcat engine, a Red Eye engine. There's a lot of those out there probably, and rebuild it up and make it great and build up the horsepower. But you're not going to have the value in that car at that point. And in the end, all it is a Dodge Challenger, no different than the one I'm sitting in today, and I would contend it doesn't look as good. It's got a little bit of suspension differences, but all this stuff is tied towards a very complicated computer system. So you got a Dodge Challenger, you got a body, you got brakes, you got all the main, normal components, but for the most part, the whole spirit of that car is the technology, and will that technology still be around? Well, I would say there's no damn way. So I would say 5 years at best, or 5 years, no matter what, you're probably safe. But 10 years, you're sitting on maybe something you're going to have to resto mod. You're going to have to throw a different engine in it. But then it's just a Challenger with no front fender flares. That's all it is. It's not anything significantly different. So I don't see people spending $400,000 on those. And if you have one with only 200 miles on it that's been sitting in your garage for the last 10 years, why would somebody take a chance and buy it with a legacy around this car that the engines are blowing and that too many are not being driven? So many are not being driven that we don't know what real percentage of these engines are defective, if they're defective at all. We don't know. So for those of you that are mad at me for sharing all this stuff and talking about the values, I'm just trying to help you. The dealers took all of the appreciation up front. Any possible chance there would be any appreciation on these cars, they took it up front from you. Yes, you could have bought it for $100,000, and maybe if you had a good one, sold it for $200,000 10 years from now if it's in great condition. Maybe, but now with this new legacy being built around the cars not being reliable, I think that's going to hurt it. But you paid $200. You paid even $150. You paid the appreciation to the dealership in advance. And now you have to wait for that car to get back to being worth what you paid for it. And there's a good chance, and historically speaking, if you go back and look at even exotics out there, even my 10-year-old Lamborghini Huracan, this thing is a V10 monster, is not going up in value. At best, it holds its value, but it's gone down in this market for good reason. But it certainly is not worth $500,000. Well, there's way more of those in these Demon 170s. We're talking about a Challenger with an engine that is fragile like glass, as is what we're finding out. And even if not, the stigma, the legacy being built around it is value crushing, no matter how you cut it. And the lack of support, and if you're going to put all your money on Stellantis being around 10 years from now, Dodge being around 10 years from now, what happens if Stellantis does kill Dodge, which they sure as hell appear to be trying to? They kill Dodge, and they have to support all the warranted cars for that 5 years, and then this thing goes away. At that point, 5 years from now, that Demon 170 is an orphan, as Tony's Garage put it, and you've got a car that's not worth anything. And I'll tell you right now, I'd probably rather have a 2018 than the 2023 at this point, for obvious reasons. Much more proven car. Make sense? So with that, everybody, share your thoughts in the comments below, but go watch before you blast me in the comments, you Demon 170 owners that are so mad at us for trying to share logic and common sense. Go watch Uncle Tony's Garage's video and tell me why he's wrong. I would love to know. You could tell me why I'm wrong, but I've seen this movie, and I gotta tell you, I know how it ends, and it ends with a whole bunch of people that got hosed buying a car, and it was all hype that drove that price to the moon. The hype has started to whittle away, and these things are still, I got screenshots after screenshots after screenshots of guys trying to hawk their cars on these groups for $150,000. Some of them were asking ridiculous $200 plus $300,000 numbers. They're never going to get them, but they're sitting there and they get just roasted in the comments from people that say it's not worth it, you're asking too much money. And then guys who already own one says, boy, I think you're asking a great price. This self-support of each other, convincing each other that they're going to be okay, it's kind of hard to watch because I want to scream out, but I don't. Because if they don't sell the car, they lose nothing. They should take it out and drive the hell out of it, because a lot of these guys have kept the cars for 4, 5, or 6 months, and then they're going, what the hell did I buy this thing for? It's useless. I put 500-600 miles on it, and I can't drive it every day. It makes no sense. You can, but it makes no sense. It's just way overkill, and you're going to be at a gas station every day. And, I mean, it doesn't handle well. It's built to do one thing, go straight very, very fast, which is why I will share with you in a video soon my Demon story that you're all wanting to hear, okay? So stay tuned for that, and it is interesting, and I think it's something that kind of supports that I've been telling you all forever, that I walk the walk and I talk the talk. I've had to change my mind in my life a few times and switch to other cars and do stuff, and you guys are quick to remind me what I do that isn't in line with what I say. But it is so rare, and I do reserve the right to change my mind whenever I want. I'm a grown man. What I'll share with you supports everything I've been sharing with you all. If I feel a certain way, I believe something, I'm going to act the same way. I told you all not to pay markups. I said you could pay MSRP. I went and paid MSRP for this thing. And yes, I've lost money, but I haven't lost fun. I've gotten it back in the form of joy, despite my damn seat being unpeeling. So with that, everybody, stay tuned, like and subscribe, comment, be respectful in the comments, and remember, go watch Uncle Tony's Garage. Watch that video. You'll be blown away. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.